On our series today, we're looking at 11 keys that opens the prophetic realm. Let us look at Revelation chapter 1 verse 10 to 12. Revelation 1, 10 to 12. I was in this spirit on the Lord's day and heard behind me a great voice as of a trumpet. I was in the spirit, then I heard. I was in the spirit, then I heard. It didn't say I was in the physics, then I heard. I was in the spirit, then I heard. And that voice that I heard was like a trumpet saying, I am Alpha and Omega, verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spoke with me. John said, when I turned to see the voice that spoke to me, he said, and being turned, I saw 7 lampstands. These are 2 qualities exhibited by prophets: the hearing quality and the seeing quality. Those that see are called seers. There are prophets that only hear. There are prophets that both see and hear things from the realm of the spirit. John exhibited both qualities. There are keys that unlock this realm. As for John, he was in the spirit on the Lord's day. That was how he unlocked the realm. I want us to look at these 11 keys now. Key number 1 is recognize the seer seed in you. Recognition is the key word here. Recognition. Once you are called to be a prophet or born to be a prophet, it's your honest or responsibility to recognize that you have the prophetic seed in you. There are certain potentials that are embedded in you, that are placed in you, bestowed upon you at birth or as you grow into Christ, that shows that this one is given the mission to prophesy on earth. First thing to do to yourself is to recognize what you have, who you are. Jesus said, I came to seek and to save that which was lost. Luke chapter 19 and verse 10. I came to seek and to save that which was lost. That which was lost. You see, Amos would say, I was neither a prophet, neither was I a son of a prophet. I was doing something else, gathering sycamore, gathering figs, heading, and the Lord said, come, go prophesy to my people Israel. That was his standpoint. He recognized there was a seed in him. Before ever manifesting as a prophet, you need to recognize this seed. When you recognize it, you can begin to grow from there. Number 2, get on a prophetic atmosphere. There are prophetic atmospheres. Prophetic atmosphere can mean coming under an anointed prophet who is already in the office of a prophet. If you have the prophetic seed already and you come under a prophet who is already operating in the office of a prophet, you discover that it activates your prophetic proclivities and opens or unlocks the prophetic realm for you, so you can both hear and begin to prophesy. When you come close to such men, the atmosphere opens up for you to begin to see in the realm of the spirit, or to hear in the realm of the spirit. Not only under men of God, there are prophetic atmospheres like the church, where the corporate anointing lies. When they are praising or praying, you see that the prophetic realm becomes unlocked for you. This doesn't happen in most cases when you are alone as a beginner. The next key is study the prophetic operations. When you study prophetic operations, remember these 11 keys are practices. When you study prophetic operations, what are prophetic operations? Prophetic operations, there are prophets that operate as kings. They operate like kings. They declare things. They seem to prove the existence of God, the power of God. Like Elijah, there are these prophets that operate like priests. A good example could be Moses. These ones walk more around the altar. One of their favorites is intercession, connecting the people, reconciling the people with God. Then there are these prophets that are called prophets. They are the prophets they are the choosing prophet. Am I a called prophet? Am I a choosing prophet? These are things you should know. The choosing prophet, God calls them by himself, raises them by himself. There are the called prophets that God calls them, brings them under another man of God, like Elisha under Elijah, to be brought up. The chosen prophet helps you unlock the prophetic and gets you into operation in the prophetic office. There is this thing again about prophetic operation. Prophets can either prophesy of things in the past, other prophets prophesy of things in the present, other prophets prophesy of things in the future. Some prophet combines the three areas. So you need to know how the prophetic works. Study these things. The more you know, the more you become sharp to perform in the one that relates to you, the one that has to do with you. Number 4, key or practice is learn how to hear God's voice. This was what Samuel learned while he stayed under Eli in the temple. He slept here. The voice of the Lord will come to Samuel. Samuel. Rise, run to Eli. Did you call? No, I didn't call. Go back, lie down again. Went back, laid down. The voice came again. Samuel ran to Eli. Eli said, go back. He came again the third time. After hearing a voice, ran to Eli. Eli realized it was God talking to the young boy. So Eli told him, this time around when he talks, when you hear the voice and saying, speak Lord, thy servant hears. Now Eli taught him how to hear and recognize the voice of God. So as a prophet, you need to learn how to hear the voice of God. There are voices that talks to you as a prophet or as an outcomer. There are voices that talk to you. Even as a prophet, there are voices that talk to you. The voice of God talks to you. The devil talks to you, and your spirit talks to you. So you need to be able to differentiate between the three voices. Now the voice of God will always be in line with his word. The next practice is practice the seeing act. I want to refer to the prophet Jeremiah in scripture here. In Jeremiah chapter 1, from verse 5, when God said to 5, from your mother's womb I knew you, and I ordained you a prophet unto the nations. As you go down to verse 10 to 17, you see God telling Jeremiah, talking to you. Now when God spoke to him, he was able to recognize the voice. The next thing God moved Jeremiah into was, what do you see? What do you see? Then Jeremiah said, I saw. Now practicing the art of seeing. From the moment Jeremiah was able to see, and God confirmed that what he saw was correct, from then on Jeremiah began to see and to prophesy. Point number 6 is the use of prophetic tools. Moses was not known to be a prophet before the incidents of his encounter at Mount Horeb, the mountain of God. That encounter he had with God. What God did was, when Moses hesitated to undertake the task of going to Egypt to bring out the people of Israel from captivity, God made Moses drop his staff, and the staff became snake. And he ordered Moses to return back while Moses was running away, to pick it by the tail, and then it became a staff again. God made Moses understand that mantle in his hand, the staff, will become a material that the power of God can operate through. Now we are not to worship these materials, but sure, the power of God can be deposited on them, so that someone with the prophetic seed, once they come in contact with it, they can receive the power. It can be said that the day in which Moses' prophetic anointing was properly activated and the prophetic oil was fully unlocked for him unlimitedly, was the same day that Moses learned how to use prophetic tool, namely the staff. A similar issue is seen with Elijah and Elisha. When they journeyed to the other side of Jordan, when Elijah was about taking up the prophetic mantle of Elijah and Elisha, it corresponds with when Elisha was installed by God to become a prophet in the place of Elijah properly. So he stood by the bank of River Jordan, used the mantle, and the waters parted into two, and he went through. See, number 7 is employ the prophetic boosters. There are prophetic boosters. That's when you study the word relating to where a prophet was prophesying. When you study God's word, where a prophet was prophesying, it boosts you prophetically. You have gospel music that boosts you prophetically. You unlock the word. Then When you pray in the Holy Ghost, this also unlock prophetic realm. Number 8 is practice the presence. Learn to dwell in the presence of God. Stay away from people. Stay alone. Shut down everything. Your handsets, your radios, your television. You can lie down either facing down or facing upward. Close your eyes. Learn to hear from God. Meditate about God and so on and so forth. Eventually, you will see that the prophetic realm will be unlocked and God will begin to talk to you or show you things that you are supposed to do and act upon. Number 9 is respect the still voice. Many times that God talks to prophets using a very still voice. God doesn't need to shout at you before you know God is talking. As a prophet, recognize the still voice. There are times when we take an action, the still voice says no. It doesn't push you. It only says it very calm and very low. When you can recognize and respect the promptings of this still voice, you are developing your conscience to be able to recognize the voice of God. And this enables you much later to be able to follow prophetic promptings, and you become smart whenever God wants to use you to discharge a prophetic duty. Point number 10 is yield. Now this one is a crucial one because God is a spirit. His servants, the prophet, must operate spiritually. When you yield to God's bidding easily or leadership easily, it enables you as a prophet to transcend from the physical realm to the spirit realm, the prophetic realm, easily or with ease. That makes the proximity between you and God to be a mutual one. So when God talks or signals, you get them easily because you are within the spiritual circumference prophetically, so that you can easily operate in the prophetic. You can easily permeate into realms and begin to prophesy. So this practice of yielding with ease makes the sharpest prophets and the prophets who yield the most. All the prophets excelled only because they yielded. So as a prophet, you must be able to yield to God, yield to His word. There are times when God is talking to you or giving you a message to deliver. It's not palatable. It's not the kind of message you are expecting God to give to you to share with any class of persons, but you just need to yield. And lastly, glorify Him at all times. Glorify God at all times. As a prophet, don't take God's glory. Everything God does is to His credit. The more you talk about the goodness of God, the wonderful works of God, the more likely you are to permeate into the prophetic realm, to see things and start prophesying immediately. May the Lord be with you as you embark on the prophetic journey of your life in Jesus' name.